My name's James, and I've never seen Pulp Fiction.
Hello everybody and welcome to the video. I'm your host for today, Ben. Joining me as always,
Dan,
James,
and Christian.
And today we're trying something a little bit different today. As you can see, we're doing a news show at the moment. We're calling it I've Never Seen, and we're going to be taking a look at those big films, or maybe some smaller films, that really a self-confessed film fan probably should have seen. The four of us are all film fans, but today we're focusing on James, who, as we know from the beginning of the video, he hasn't seen Pulp Fiction. Can you believe it?
yes.
Yeah, I can believe it.
So for the video today, he's now watched the film. We're just going to be doing a little bit of talking about it, see what his thoughts are. Directed by Tarantino, his second film, released in '94, the winner Palme d'Or at Cannes, instantly became like a classic, made loads of money, is now considered a cultural event, almost milestone. It was in posters everywhere. It's in my room as a poster. Oh, I'm wearing the t-shirt. It's quoted, it's memed. It kind of really made Tarantino's name as the indie boy from Reservoir to being a real face and name like that, the 90s indie movement. Now we're taking a look at it for our first episode to see what James thinks. Straight out of the gate, did you like the film, James?
Yeah, I did. I liked it. I think it's... I do have my issues with it. I've got my complaints, might be a strong word, but I've got things to talk about it. But yeah, I do think it is a good film. It's a well-made film with some really good scenes in there. However, I think it's a film that should have had a redraft in the script writing process. I think there are scenes in there that don't need to be there. I don't think it needs to be 2.5 hours long. Really, you could kind of cut Bruce Willis's storyline out of this.
What? Okay, we need to wind the clock back.
There weren't any bits that I disliked. I don't think there's bad bits in this film. I just think it's too long, and there's some stuff that just doesn't need to be there. All the scenes are individually good, but just all of them together, 2.5 hours is longer than this film needs to be, in my opinion. Particularly, I would say another bit that could kind of get, not go, but trimmed down. The whole scene where they're in Tarantino's house and cleaning down the car. It's like, we're right near the end here. Why are we stopping for so long to hear?
That's so Tarantino can be in his own film.
But this is my thing. I stand by my point of, because I'm not a huge Tarantino fan, it feels like his films are made for him more than they're made for the audience at times.
I think that's a good thing, though. I think that's a good thing in a way. I'm of the opinion most of the time that if you're kind of making something with other people in mind, there's going to be an element of compromise there. So, you know, if you're a film director or an artist or a musician or anything and you're making it for an audience, then fair enough. But I do, say what you will about Tarantino, he does his own thing, he's very unique. But although he's not entirely pure, I think he does create things for an audience to an extent. He does play the game, he gives the audience what they want sometimes.
No one can claim that it's not a well-made film.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It looks good, it's got some nice shots. I think it's done pretty well of how they get the story. It's not just an A to B linear timeline. I do like a nice plastic timeline that as you're going it reveals, oh no, we've gone back in time, we've jumped forward. I like that when it's done well, and I think it is done well in this film. All the stuff in there is good, but I think I would have liked it maybe more if the film ended with they reveal that you're in the diner at the start where the hold-up takes place, and then just ends. It just goes, oh, and now you're back at the start of the film, and then the film ends. I think that would have been a nice ending.
Oh, I remember when I first watched it, not realising Vince and Jules are in that diner. When it cuts to Tim Roth going Garçon, I was like, oh my god, now Vince and Jules have been put... but I wanted to see now, what are Vince and Jules, real gangsters, going to deal with these two schmucks? That Tim Roth's an idiot. He says garçon because he thinks it's cool, and the waitress, who he obviously will have some sort of opinion on, is garçon means man in French or whatever. Garçon means man, and Honey Bunny is clearly just thinks he's more intelligent and all this and that, and they're idiots.
Yeah.
But he makes I thought he made a good argument about restaurants though, about robbing a restaurant. I'll give him that. He's an idiot with a point. I love when you walk away from the film. They walk away from the restaurant and you come out of it going, oh, they're victorious. But Vince dies the next day. I love how it has that victorious music at the end, and they do the whole they put their guns at the same time. like a victory little celebration. It's like, yeah, but no, Vince is dead. Like, it's not a victory here, but it feels like it's cool.
Plus, I feel like that whole scene where he's talking to Tim Roth is like a real closing point for Jules' character. You know, like, of course, Jules isn't there later in the film. It's just Vince on his own with Marcellus. So it's like a real sort of catharsis to Jules being almost right, being like, no, this is divine intervention telling me I should get out. And Vince is like, it's stupid. It's not divine intervention. Why would God play it? What is God trying to tell us? And then Vince gets shot literally the next day.
I'm interested to know what what scenes, things James would take, because he alluded to wanting to take Bruce Willis' story out of the film. I want to know more about that. That sounds interesting.
Because he had arguably the most entertaining story at times.
And like, this is the thing, like, I can see why stuff wasn't cut, because it's all good quality. I just think for the sake of speed and comfort of like watching this film for 2.5 hours long, I think some stuff could afford to be cut.
The Bruce Willis stuff with his girlfriend Fabienne, I think her name was, I get that you want to emotionally get their couple. It goes on a bit too long for me. I think the lowest point in the film for me is the pot belly conversation.
Yeah. And like,
It's unusual.
Yeah, that was a bit. I was watching it going like, I guess you could cut this pot belly chat. Not everything works, Quentin. Not everything sticks.
A lot of the conversations, while they do pay off, at the time, they seem pointless. You know, you have that whole conversation in the car where they're talking about what a quarter pounder is called in Amsterdam. I think it does well because it allows the world to breathe, it allows the world to open up, and the fact that there's like a lack of non-diegetic music throughout as well. Most of the time you're just left to sort of sit in the world.
There were some bits, particularly I felt between Mia and Vincent. I was like, I get that they're nice conversations, but it's like, people don't talk like this. Like, this doesn't feel like a real conversation that two people would have. And then a lot of Samuel L. Jackson's lines, as he said them, I was like, I feel like I'm listening to a speech. I don't feel like I'm listening to a person talk.
Well, that's the thing about Tarantino's films, right? He treats his dialogue almost like an action scene. It's like, if we see Captain America punch someone or use a special move, does that have to be in there? No, it's in there because people think it's cool and it's entertaining and people enjoy being in that moment and everything. And it's the same with like Tarantino's dialogue a lot of the time. It's very, very unnatural. It is like a movie, you know? It's just, if you like that kind of thing, it's almost like the same entertainment factor that you'd get from an action scene.
Did you know they were going to end up in Zed's Bay? Did you know that? Because of just zeitgeist and just knowing about the film?
Yeah. I knew that I knew that there was a bit where they were both in a basement together.
Did you know because of The Simpsons?
I don't know where I knew it from.
Such a shame, because like, I had no idea. It's just so entertaining where that storyline goes, and the idea of that he's in the car and Marcellus just walks up to him. It's so sick.
Like, he's made the whole thing of, I can't go back to my apartment, they'll be there for me. He does. He gets to slip in without no one seeing him, and then it turns out John Travolta was waiting for him. He gets away with that, and then Marcellus just happens to be getting donuts and walks across the wrong street at the wrong time.
But that, like, the consequence of Jules retiring, Vincent's dead, because Jules isn't there to be at the flat because he's walked away.
The plot is kind of loose. There's clear acts, but the acts are sort of swapped around, and the plot isn't the super necessary part of the film. He's more invested in you getting to know the characters. The case is a big part of the plot, and no one knows what's in it.
Is it that big?
It's the entire motivation.
It's only in 2 scenes.
What do you think is in there, James?
I was just.
Well, I know the fact, and this is the other problem with a film that's this big when you're not seeing it. I've heard the fan theories that it's Marcellus's soul, and there's the whole thing of that's why he's got the plaster on the back of his neck. I don't know. I don't think it matters at the end of the day. It doesn't matter what's in the case. You're not supposed to care. If you come out of this film being like, but what's in the case? That's not the point. You've missed the point.
No, that's not the point.
There's one theory that Elvis Presley once wore a gold suit. And that's what it is. It's just Elvis's gold suit. And Marcellus just really wanted it, and he nicked it.
I still like Tarantino's response, where that people are like, oh, what's in the case? And he goes, oh, it's a yellow bulb and a battery pack.
If Tarantino had just gone, oh, it was a bar of gold bullion or something, how boring is that compared to all these fan theories that have
I like that.
The idea is that he wanted to take these classic pulp storylines, the gangster taking the boss's wife for a night out, the hitman job, and the boxing fight gone awry. He's gone, I'm going to take those classic stories and we're going to look at what else do they get up to. So like in any normal film, it begins with Vince and Jules knocking on the door, and that's the beginning. That's your starting scene. He's going to go, yeah, but where do they go? What happens before they turn up? What happens afterwards when they get breakfast? That was like the idea.
Yeah, and it's cool. It's all good stuff.
Yeah, so let's talk about some kind of highlights, personal favourites, any things that kind of stuck out with you, James, some of your favourites or standout moments or characters, anything.
I really like John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson in this film. I enjoy watching their scenes where they're talking to each other. I think they bounce off each other really well, and you get the sense that these people know each other. It really does feel like they live outside of their scenes, which is quite nice.
Yeah, that's good.
And just the way that they talk, how casual they are about quite a serious job, and little bits. I enjoy their relationship. That was probably the high point for my film. So the scenes in the car where they're talking about a Royale with cheese and all that.
The section where Vince and Mia dance, their physical moves, James, are based off the Aristocats, I think, apparently, especially Mia Wallace.
Yeah, I can see it.
All of his films are peppered with
pop culture,
with influences.
That was one bit that I burst out laughing at first, and then once it settled in, I was like, oh, okay. Was when they just start dancing, and I was like, this is so terribly awkward. They just start dancing, and the music's not even that loud. I was like, I kind of love it, though, because it's what an actual... If two people started dancing, it's what it would actually be. It's not a dance scene where the music goes to non-diegetic and they're busting out these moves and all these camera cuts and it looks really all swoony and great. It is just two people in one shot dancing to music that you can hear in the room. It sounds a bit tinny. I was like, it's cool. It's cool. I like that.
It was a thing at the time as well, wasn't it? That John Travolta hadn't been in anything for a while, but he'd been known for like Grease and Saturday Night Fever. And there he is. He's back and he's like on the dance floor.
Back on floor.
It's really great.
Worst things. Did you want to talk about?
It goes back to what I kind of opened with. There aren't any really bad parts of the film. Like, it's all good quality. I just think overall, to me, dampen the experience a little bit from just how long it is. I think I would have preferred maybe a snappier bit.
Yeah.
I wonder if I don't know. Now you know what it is. If you watched it in time, you get some space
maybe.
for it. Maybe because like with his other movies, now you know it might be easier to kind of like get in the sort of maybe headspace. I don't know.
Maybe, but I knew how long it was going in. I don't know.
I mean, I will say, when I first watched this film, I loved it anyway. But an entirely new experience was going to see it in the cinema. One of the big things was sound. Because there's no non-diegetic music blocking it out, you can notice every little sound in the room. Like when they're in the diner, if someone on the other side of the diner clinks a fork, you can hear it.
Little things as well. In the beginning, James, when Honey Bunny and that are talking, Vincent walks past them on his way to the toilet. I just think the bit where she says, and I'll execute every motherfucking last one of you, and then boom into the music. It's just so good.
And I'll execute every motherfucking last one of you!
It's just he knew what he was doing, and he knows like this is so good. You just know when in the edit, when he put that together and he watched it for the first time, he was like, oh my god, this is amazing.
And that's another thing that a lot of the scenes with like Jules and Vincent do, especially when they're arguing, is it highlights the fact that they are friends, but they have like very key differences in how they view the world. And Vincent, without Jules, is just sort of unhinged, sloppy and violent.
He's a bit of an idiot.
Yeah. Like Jules is his center. You know, in the end, when Vince comes out of the bathroom with his gun drawn and Jules just keeps turning to him and being like, chill out, I have this sorted.
Yeah, but that's like, imagine watching that for the first time though, because we all kind of have an idea of like how it all plays out. But imagine watching that scene for the first time. It's so unpredictable and like you really don't know what's going to happen. So it's kind of like, it has that element of tension. I think that's maybe why it was kind of in there. But if you watch it again and again, it's like, yeah, this guy's annoying.
A question for you, James. Do you think it was divine intervention or did the guy miss?
It's got to be divine intervention because the bullets are literally right behind them. There is no physical way for those bullets to miss. It's just not physically possible.
I personally think it was just filming on the day. Before the guy comes in the room, the bullet holes are already in the wall.
Are they?
I thought that, and I was thinking, is that intentional or was that an accident? And is the gun just filled with blanks?
Yeah, that's what I wonder as well. That's the cool thing though. It's a really interesting like little debate. He's kind of peppered in this little film and stuff.
Yeah.
I love that in this film you get the little glimpses of other people's lives. Zed and this bloke. Is Grace going to be okay? Oh, is it Tuesday? Yeah, it's Thursday. Oh, she'll be fine. And like these little things that they've done this before. The Gimp. What did you know about the Gimp?
When it came up, I was like, oh yeah, there's a Gimp in this. Oh, I wonder why he's such a big thing. But he's barely in it. He's in it for like 2 minutes.
Because he's just so weird
He
and
gets
random.
immediately knocked unconscious.
Yeah, I thought he was going to do something and be a thing.
I think that's the thing I like about Tarantino films, another aspect is that it doesn't always adhere to the same cliches that you get in other movies. So we have this scene where Marcellus catches Bruce Willis whilst walking across the street, and it's a chance meeting that then leads to a chase, which leads down a back alley, which then leads to the gun store. And you just think, oh, in any other film that's just an incidental gun store, right? But it turns out that it's got this whole story attached, this whole horrible like basement underbelly like gross thing going on. That's the element I like about the Tarantino films. It's like you don't quite know what's gonna happen.
Speaking of unexpected bits though, that was one bit that like caught me off guard, but I really kind of loved, was how we had all this like quite serious, it's action, it's a bit gritty, and then in the gun store we sort of take a pause to have Bruce Willis do this escalation joke of the hammer, the baseball bat, the chainsaw, the katana. It's so good.
It's like you get the way it's filmed, like he's got the chainsaw and you think, yes, this is, he's got this chainsaw, and then like the way the camera's shot to him, like it catches his attention and you think,
like,
what
it's
has
heavenly.
He seen? Yeah, it's like what has he seen? And
that's the thing, we don't see it, so you're like, what can he have seen that's like escalated from a chainsaw?
The section where they do the 3, 2, 1 when they give Mia the adrenaline's really well shot of the chest, right on the dot of the needle, everyone's facial expressions, it's really well done.
And another use of like the real close-ups is I like Samuel L. Jackson like intimidating them in the apartment, and it keeps cutting to like close-ups of his face as he like bites into the burger. It's like a really intimidating shot. He's like looking right down the camera,
and like he finishes the drink, he drinks the good
just
half
slowly.
of it. Yeah, it's so good. Okay guys, we've had a great little chat about Pulp Fiction. James, are you glad you watched it? Do you think other people should watch it? Is it a film you should see before you die?
Yes, I would recommend people watch this, even if you only ever watch it once, so that you have at least experienced Pulp Fiction.
Well, there we go. He's finally done it. He's watched Pulp
It's
Fiction.
been a long time coming.
Long time coming. If you enjoyed the video, guys, please do like and subscribe. Give us a little thumbs up. Apparently thumbs up really helps, and it makes us feel really nice when you thumb us up. Or thumb us down. Just engage. Comment down below. Did you like Pulp Fiction? What films should James check out next? Anything, any big films he might not have seen, anything a bit more weird? What film should a film buff see? Let us know down below. And we'll see you next time, yeah, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.